guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is TishaTheBrave. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing okay. Before we get into the video, I know there's at least one or two of you who haven't pressed that subscribe button, so subscribe to me and join the Bravers, which is the family name for my subscribers, okay? And also, if you don't know by now, I do have a Patreon where you can support me. And if you do support me on my Patreon, I do now make weekly moon videos, so you'll know exactly what the moon is in throughout the week and what those energies are going to be throughout that week, okay? So definitely check me out on Patreon if you haven't already. Today I'm talking about the earth signs and their chakras, okay? So if you guys don't know already, I've done air, I've done water, I've done fire, okay? Today I'm doing earth, and please check out your sun, moon and rising, okay? Because it's very important. So in general, the earth signs definitely have a active root chakra. Root chakra is where you find stability, foundation, and earth signs are very good at having a basis, just having a general basis of what they know and how to apply the knowledge that they know. Basically, they are great problem solvers, okay? So that's exactly why they have a great root chakra. Now, with having an active root chakra, sometimes it could tend to be a fact where you have an overactive root chakra. So what does an overactive root chakra look like? What does that exactly mean? To have an overactive root chakra means that you lack faith. You could lack faith because for you, everything has to make sense. 1 + 1 must equal 2. It has to have some sort of logical meaning to you. But life is not always logical. Life can throw you off balance. Life can sometimes not be. Life is a ride. It's not sturdy. It is not something that is certain no matter how much you plan for it. And what happens is that they can have a lack of faith because they already have these steps in line. And then all of a sudden it blows up in their face and they don't know what to do. So what they need to actually work on is getting in touch with like their crown chakra and their third eye chakra, because what ends up happening is that when things go wrong, they just break down. They could break down, and they could break down in the sense where they're overthinking, overanalyzing, and their brain is constantly being stimulated, and that leads them to lack of sleep. It leads them to like lack of just energy generally. So definitely get to working on your crown and your third eye chakra. You have to be aware that there can be things that are going to be out of your control, and you have to be aware of the things that, and you have to be aware of the facts that wonderful, miraculous, great things can happen and will happen in your life that you will not be able to explain, and you have to be okay with that. So hang out with some of your water sign friends, because they're definitely on the other side of that. They believe in fate and all that shit. So yeah, now I'm going to get into the individual earth signs. We're going to start off in order. So let's go with the Taurus first. So as a Taurus moon, I also have a problem with this myself that I'm actively working on constantly all the time. The Tauruses have a problem with their throat chakra, okay? Tauruses are people who do all the work themselves. Tauruses pressurize themselves a lot, and they would rather do everything themselves because it's about them always being financially stable, right? So Tauruses are not the kind of people where they would want you to help them out, because for them, it's also about their ego. And also, if we're being real, like doing it by themselves means that they have more stability because they have more money. And for Tauruses, that's really important. So because of the way that they are in this sense, a lot of the times when they are struggling, they're not going to tell you they are struggling, and therefore this is really blocked. So a lot of the times what Tauruses do, instead of actually talking about things, they end up like actually comforting themselves in different ways. So whether that is like, you know, relaxing way too hard, or like overeating, or this or that, whatever it is, they comfort themselves in other ways instead of actually saying what's on their mind. And then that doesn't help, because then you end up having like a problem with your thyroid too. You can be really tactful about your communication. Not everything requires people to help you, but at the same time, if you're being quiet about what you're doing and you're drowning, that is on you, because you're not saying anything. And it's not good for your health when you do these things, and then you end up doing stupid things instead. Like, you know, you're literally governed by Venus. You're going to just take your pleasure into something else, and that is going to harm you versus help you. You have to work on your throat chakra. So that means eating blue foods, like blue spirulina or blueberries, meditating to some throat chakra sound bowls, just generally work on it. And I would advise Tauruses, this is is what I've been doing recently too. Every time somebody is talking to you, respond immediately. Tauruses tend to really be inside what they're doing at the present moment, that they do not respond back to people straight away. And even I'm like that sometimes, and I caught myself doing that, and I realized that's a shadow aspect. And pay attention to what people are trying to say to you, because this could actually help you versus hinder you. But also that means you're actively working on your throat chakra, okay? So now we're moving on to the Virgo. The Virgos have a sensitive digestive system, and they have a problem with their solar plexus chakra. So the solar plexus governs confidence, okay? Now, a lot of people may think every Virgo I know is actually quite the confident person. They're so logical, they're so perceptive, they know how to kind of like think in like layers or like tabs or whatever it is. They just know how to kind of like solve an issue, right? But actually the reason they acquire so much knowledge is because, yes, one, they're interested, but two, also that helps them gain their own confidence. So the thing is like, if Virgos don't know something, if they don't understand what's happening, they're not going to feel confident in themselves. One of the best examples I can really give about the Virgo is actually my own baby cousin. So my little cousin, she's only 4 years old, but she's a Virgo sun. If I ask her a question that she does not know about, do you know what she does? She literally runs away, or she'll pretend that she didn't hear the conversation, or she'll be like, oh, look at me, Tisha, I'm doing a dance move or something like that. Because she finds it upsetting that she doesn't understand what I'm saying to her, or she doesn't know how to respond to me. Because she doesn't want to look like she's not intelligent. She doesn't want to look like she doesn't know what she's saying. So what you guys need to work on is your solar plexus. You need to have confidence even when you're wrong. I even know Virgos that literally would be like, instead of saying like, this is what it is, they'll be like, I believe this is this, because for them, that means that the accountability is not on them if it's wrong. And that's how far they'll go in saying that, because although, yes, it makes sense logically, you know, you don't know the facts, so you will change the language of what you're saying. But it's also because they don't want to take the accountability if it is wrong, because being wrong is so heartbreaking to them. It's so upsetting to them. It's something where it's embarrassing to them. You also need to understand that with life, there are so many possibilities and things that you will not be able to explain. And I'm especially talking about this again for the Virgos. I know I said this at the intro of the earth signs, but generally speaking, Virgos, you need to understand that there are things that you will not be able to explain. And there are things that are going to pop up that you may not understand. Like, what is this? Like, there's so much about life that is a mystery, and you will not be able to figure it out. And that's also something you need to be aware of. So when there are things that do not make sense, you kind of just have to take the L and not try to figure it out all the time, because that in itself will also make you restless. Moving forward, let's talk about the Capricorns. Capricorns have issues with their knees in particular, their joints, their bones, but particularly at the knees. Your knees could lock if you do a bit too much, right? So Capricorns, you really need to work on your root chakra. Now, I know at the beginning of this video, I already talked about the root as a thing for earth signs generally, but particularly for the Capricorns, this is a very big issue for you guys. You guys always feel like you have to be responsible for other people, and that is not, and that is literally by choice. Okay, that is literally by choice. It's almost like I can hear the Capricorns now screaming at me, telling me that it is not by choice. This is just what you have to do. This is what happens in life. Listen, take it from a person who is a Taurus moon in the 10th house, and a person who has 3 times Capricorn in their chart, and a sister who has 6 times the Capricorn in her chart, who happens to be a Capricorn sun. It is a choice. No matter what your circumstance, you could choose to run away, or you could choose to be there and be present and take responsibility. Capricorns in general take responsibility for not just them, but for everybody else around them, because that's the way they show love. Now, I get it. I understand. That is a way to show love, and that is a way to do things. But then where is your foundation for yourself? What are the things that are most important to you? Because what you're doing is you're putting a lot of people above you, and you're not putting yourself first. And that is, you don't have a stable foundation. Because if you don't have a stable foundation, how is everybody else going to benefit from you? Because you're giving parts of yourself that is already broken, because you're not actually stable in yourself. And so my wish for you guys and my advice to you guys is to literally analyze what you're taking responsibility for, because Capricorns are the fathers of the zodiac, and so what you're doing is you're putting your responsibility. So what you're doing is you're just taking charge without even thinking, because automatically you're in that headspace of a father. I'm taking charge of my family. I'm doing it in a traditional sense. You know, you're doing that. I'm taking charge of my family. I'm taking charge of this. And then what ends up happening with you guys is that you have family that is not just your family, but now it's also pertaining to your friends, your work colleagues, just people on the street that may need your help. It doesn't matter who it is. For some reason you're in charge of, for some reason you make yourself in charge of everyone, and it's something that is not your responsibility, but you're doing it anyway. So you need to start prioritizing yourself. It's your physical energy that's literally making your knees lock. I just hope you know that. It's your physical energy, because you can't stop running to people. You can't stop running to situations. You can't stop. All that tension builds up in your joints. I also want to add, you need to work on your sacral too, because you also need to find yourself scrummy, delicious, and you also need to find yourself scrummy, delicious, inviting, amazing, just like all these other people are finding you. And that's why they keep coming to you. You haven't found yourself in that delightful, amazing way. It's so funny because everybody else can see it, but you can't, right? So Capricorns, that's what you definitely need to work on. Anyways, guys, my name is TishaTheBrave. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you like it, okay? And also, if you are if you want to support me further, I do have a Patreon where I will be discussing moon cycles on a weekly basis. That's bonus content for you guys, as a thank you for being on there. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye 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 bye.